Hi, good afternoon. It's time for the Uplift with Vision. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I'm Reverend Patti Paris. I'm here to lead you through this conversation that is uplifting and refilling for our souls and for our minds and for our bodies as well. So let's get right into it with a nice pray-in. I know that I am one with Spirit. I know that God is all there is. I know that there is pure energy, and that energy is potential. That energy is the divine knowing of itself, loving itself into form. And I know that we are part of that form. We are part of the ongoing life of Spirit. And we know that we are the place where Spirit is showing up to do the work, to do the play, to do the wisdom of Spirit. Absolutely flowing through us into our conditions, into our physical world, changing the world around us. So I give thanks for this time spent together. I know that it is all good. It is all God, because that is what God is. God is the good that we know ourselves to be, flowing into existence in all of the creative and unique ways that we show up on the earth. So I turn this time over to Spirit. I know it is all God. It is all good. And so it is. So good afternoon, welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I'm calling today Full Friday. It is Full Friday. You know, I know you always hear the phrase, or you often hear the phrase anyway, that, you know, the pessimist sees the glasses half empty and the optimist see the glasses half full. And I know that we are here practicing the science of mind and spirit at this Center for Spiritual Living. So I know that our phrase is we have unlimited refills, right? We have unlimited refills. We don't need to know half full or half empty, because there is always more than enough, because spirit is limitless, because energy is limitless, because potential is limitless. We get limitless refills. And Ernest Holmes said this in Creative Mind and Success. He said, we are not limited by actual boundaries, but by false ideas about life and by a failure to recognize that we are dealing with the infinite. We are dealing with the infinite. We are full. There is no lack anywhere. There is no lack of energy, and that energy is what transforms into what's next, right? The physicists knew it, the mystics knew it, we called it different names. But we say regarding energy, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It merely changes form. And theologists have always said God always was, always will be. Right? Same thing. We were talking about the energy of life, and we're talking about the fact that it always remains, and what changes is the form that it assumes. So we are that. We are full of that, right? Take the seed, for example. Seeds become sprouts. Sprouts become trees. Trees become wood. Wood becomes furniture. Furniture becomes kindling. Kindling becomes the fire. Fire becomes the ash. Ash gets mixed into the soil into which the next seeds are planted. Those seeds become sprouts. Those sprouts become trees. It goes on and on. The change is constant. What is behind it, the energy, always remains the same. Over and over, it is always the same. It is energy assuming form and abandoning form all the time. You know, I was thinking about it the other day, and one of the things I thought about is, you know, water. Water is a closed system, right? There's always been the same amount of water molecules on the earth that's always been here. Whether they are in the form of salt water or fresh water or rivers or streams or ponds or steam or clouds or mist or fog, there's always been the same amount of water on the earth, around the earth, that has always been. Water does not evaporate into outer space. Water stays in our atmosphere. It stays around the earth. It doesn't go off anywhere, right? It evaporates, becomes clouds. Clouds rain. The water around the planet Earth has never changed. It's all contained in the earthly atmosphere. There always has been and there always will be the same amount of water molecules on Earth. It may not be where we want it to be. That can be our challenge. It may not show up in the areas we want it to show. There'll be floods in some areas. There are droughts in other areas. This is not about amounts. This is about distribution, right? There's always been the same amount of water. There's always been plenty. There always will be plenty. It's a closed system. And just like water, we can think of our good the same way. There is plenty. There's plenty to go around. We are full of good. God is good. God is the good that we are. There is more than enough good to go around. There is more than enough God to go around. But we play the pie game, don't we? We play the limited pie game with ourselves and with each other, right? There is a pie. We absolutely know pie. We make them, right? We make charts out of them. We make pie charts, and we cut them up into big fat slices of pie and regular sized slices of pie and little skinny thin slices of pie. But the idea is the same. And it is strictly a human idea that once the pie is gone, it's gone, right? Once all those slices have been divvied up, that's it. End of the pie. Oh, well, that's it. Nobody gets any more. But you know what? We bake another pie. We always do. There's always another pie. We like to play the human game called limitation, right? Some people play the same game. They call it lack. But it's a human idea. It's a human game that we play. And the premise of the game is when it's gone, it's gone. That's it. Oh, well, too bad. Sorry. Not enough for everyone. But it's never gone because spirit is limitless, because our good is limitless, because potential is limitless. Limitless pies, limitless water, limitless good, whatever. You know, you hear it all the time. There's only so much to go around. There's only so much to go around. And when we run out, we run out. But has anybody ever really tested that? Has anybody ever tested that theory? Oh my God, when the water is gone, it's gone? No, it's not gone. It may be just where you're not, right? Or it is where you're not. But it's not gone. And this is the idea that I want Full Friday to really encapsulate, is the fact that we are full of good. We are full of our good. Our challenge is not lack. Maybe our challenge is distribution. Maybe our challenge is not being where the good is, or not assuming the good in our lives to allow it to demonstrate. There's a lot of it in some places. There's very little or almost none in other places. But good is in infinite supply. We know this. We know the qualities of God are infinite in their supply. And we know that we are that, so that we are infinite in our scope and nature. There is always more good. There is always more abundance. There is always more love. There is always more joy and wisdom. It never runs out. There is no limitation. Limitation is a human game played by humans who believe in duality. And we must rise above that, right? It's what we focus on. We know in New Thought, what we focus on grows, right? Well, so it grows in our experience. It grows in the location where we are. So you know, here we are going along as practicing religious scientists that we are, and we're saying, isn't life grand, and life's lovely, and my life is great, and I love being alive. And then we meet those people. You know those people, right? I call them the ain't it awful people. We meet the water cooler people, right? Which I think is a really nice name for it. The water cooler people, the ain't it awful people, the there's not enough people, or the, you know, those people are trying to take what I have people. We meet those people. They are the limited pie people. And we know what to do. We know we must continue to be those limitless idea people that we are, the limitless refill people that we are. But, you know, there's also this idea of group agreement, which is very powerful in our lives because we are a tribal people. We love to be in groups. I mean, look at Vision itself, right? We're a lovely group. We like to be with like-minded people, but when we're surrounded with the water cooler people, you know, there is also this idea of group agreement. There is also a bond with people, maybe people you work with or people in your family, you know, and there's a sense of that power of belonging. So we can get caught up in that water cooler talk, you know, even when we know better, even when we know the truth, you know. Sometimes we're comforted by this idea that we have group agreement, you know, we are with people who get us. And the power of that shared experience, that keeps us in relation to each other as one of us. So there is an overwhelming power to be accepted by the group, you know. But what Ernest Holmes says is this. He said, there is no person who has any duty to perform or any God to please or any obligation to meet. There is no obligation placed upon us by divinity. The only reason we're limited is because we have not allowed instinctive life to flow through us, and because we have said there is duality. That's what holds us back. And you know, when we're hanging around those water cooler people who are complaining about the government, complaining about the president, complaining about the company, complaining about the economy, complaining about money or lack thereof, or just about anything else they could possibly complain about, they're doing it to enroll us in their point of view. You know, and people do tend to join in because of that power of group agreement, right? So that shared experience is something we have in common, so that we are, you know, they are one of us, or we are one of them. That shared experience of belonging. But here's the thing, if I'm the one who keeps reversing my position in the law, like Dr. Ernest Holmes said, we must daily reverse our position in the law, then I become the outsider, don't I? I become the one who speaks truth among this shared experience of limitation, lack, and duality. I'm the one that has to stand up because of my spiritual beliefs and truths and reverse my position in the law and risk sometimes being even ridiculed by the group, right? By the same group that we're a part of, which says, you know, oh, well, if it isn't Little Miss Sunshine, right? Or, you know, oh, it must be nice to be you know, nothing ever goes wrong in your life or anything like that. And when those times come, we have to stand firm. Like Ernest Holmes said, we must reverse our position in the law. And in the face of talk of lack, in the face of talk of limitation, and in the face of talk of duality, right, and of the haves and the have-nots and all of that, we must reverse our position in the law. We must know that abundance is our inheritance. Just like Ernest Holmes said, we must know wisdom is our birthright. Just like Ernest Holmes said, we must know that balance and beauty are who we are. Freedom and joy are qualities in limitless amounts in our experience. Love and order and peace and power, they are all flowing through us and as us into our corner of the world, into the conditions around us. And the more we're convinced of that for ourselves, the more that they flow into our experience, the more they flow into our environment. Unity, wholeness, wisdom, it is all ours. And it is all ours in limitless quantities. We must know that there is good for us in the universe, and we ought to have it. Like Emma Curtis Hopkins always said, we must be convinced of our own divine inheritance, that love points the way and law makes the way possible, and we are the place where all of that God's abundance shows up. And we have to know it in the face of the group agreement to the contrary, right? We have to be the light on the hill. Because what happens when we are that is that it changes the people around us. It changes our circumstances, and then it goes out and it changes the people around us. Ernest Holmes said this in Love and Law. He said, if you could realize the tremendous power of attraction that holds everything in its place, it is yours. It is yours, this gift. He goes on to say, it is the divine birthright of every living soul. But we limit ourselves by thoughts of limitation. Now we must open the doors of our consciousness and expand and expand and expand, and no longer think in terms of the backyard lot, but in terms of the infinite nature, in terms of the universe. That's where we are. We are that. We are full and filled. We are the divine nature of the universe. We are that. And we must absolutely remember that. In the face of the human race consciousness to the contrary, in the face of the talk of lack and limitation, in the face of talk of duality and have not, we must remain steadfast. We must keep that guardian at the gate of our consciousness and know our abundance. Know we are full, and we are full of spirit, of potential energy, of all the good in the universe, just waiting on our welcome to flow into our experience of this thing called life. Let's pray out. I give great thanks for this day. I know the abundant nature of God. I know its limitless potential. I know its ability to flow into manifestation in and around and as our lives, in the form of opportunities, in the form of job offers, in the form of friendships, in the form of love interests, in the form of romance, in the form of prosperity, in the form of increasing account balances in our books, in our businesses, and in our savings accounts. I know the abundant nature of God cannot be limited by anything but our consciousness of limitation. So I release that consciousness back to the nothingness from which it came. It does not exist. It has no reality in the nature of spirit. So I give great thanks for this good, knowing more good and more good and more good flows into our lives. The more we know it, the more we accept it, the more we demonstrate it, the more we embody it, the more we become it. We are that. Giving great thanks for this day today, knowing it is all good, it is all God, and so it is. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me on another adventure called the Uplift with Vision. I hope to see you back here tomorrow on Saturday, same time, 1 p.m. I look forward to it. From my heart to yours, Vision, I know there is no distance. We are one, giving great thanks to you, staying together as this loving, uplifting community that we are. Bye-bye. I see you tomorrow.